fantastic first job to have. My role actually involved me in meeting more than 200 top managements across different industry sectors across the 3 years that I worked there. Uh, it really helped me to understand what a good business works and how a bad business works. What good entrepreneurs actually think on, how they innovate and how they manage their team, and how an actually failed business also works like. Uh, you would start realizing that all failed businesses normally have a very particular set of characteristics, say a very bad financial management, or the team motivation is missing, or the product fit is missing. But all the good companies will have that one unique characteristic, which is unique only to them, probably into their industry or within a very few players. That really helped me a lot. Those 3 years were a lot of my core structure, and I had a very good team and seniors to work with. Post that, I worked there for 3 years. I was also attending my CAT MBA exams at that time. I cleared through some IIMs, but I did not opt to go for there. So I started my own practice, and I started investing into stocks big time. So since for the first 2 years, I think we used to study a lot. I had a very nice set of friends who joined me at that time. First 2 years was a lot of learning and research. We used to do at least 10 to 12 hours a day, post market hours. So it was essentially an 18-hour day that we used to spend in front of the books or the screen. Uh, it took us about 2 years to get consistently profitable. But since then, from 2016 to 2020, that is about 4 years now, we haven't had even one negative quarter yet. We have been able to even tide over the coronavirus issues very smoothly in this period. Uh, so post corona, what it looks like, I think we are still going well. The equity markets are going well. So it's quite green shoots for us right now.
Oh, great, great. So my second question is that how you are managing your personal and business finances in this COVID kind of situation and lockdown kind of situation.
In terms of personal finances, Mahesh, all my assets and investments are into equities. Uh, Normally in Indian society, what happens is equities are considered very risky or a speculative instrument. But that was something which was there about 20 years ago when we had a lot of manipulations in the stock market. But every time that has happened, it's not a stock market manipulation, it was a banking fault. Currently, with the tech and the systems that we have got, I can probably even go to the extent of saying that stock markets, if managed well and if the discipline and the systems are maintained, are probably the lowest risk asset that we have. So a lot of my finances and assets over the last 4 years have been built only through equity.
Okay.
In terms of my other CA practice, obviously the last 3 months have had an adverse effect. The cash flows have been deferred. But Mahesh, with us, since we are into services and we are capital light, so we do not have a lot of investments to be put into our business.
Right.
So the survival rate is higher. But across business scenarios that I see, specifically industries like real estate, auto, gems and jewelry, they are quite stressed at this time. I should be expecting the stress to continue for the next 6 to 8 months or so. But at this time, you also find a very cornered tiger kind of a syndrome. So when an entrepreneur is actually pushed towards the wall, he will actually get out its best. So amongst all the stress and the financial uncertainties that you see, you actually start seeing a very strong human spirit also coming out and fighting back for the livelihood and business.
Right. Yeah. So the third question is, any piece of advice can you share to people who are now finding very difficult in handling their personal finance?
For one, Mahesh, I think the last 3 months lockdown was an excellent time for all of us to get life back in perspective. Whatever we are doing here in terms of business or any entrepreneurial activity is essentially an activity of life. It's not life in itself, right? So be kind at this time. What you'll realize is just being a good human being dealing well with your employees, dealing well with your customers and suppliers, will earn you a goodwill which no amount of monetary stress can take away from you. So 2 years later, probably when we are into a much better economic scenario, a lot of your clients will come back to you because you would have treated them much better in this scenario. So you will have financial. There are some government packages which have come. So some of the investee companies, what we have done is we have divided our costs into essential and non-essential costs, or ideally as we call it as efficient costs. Uh, so we have expanded a lot more on our working capital and reduced the office expenses, which was essentially not productive or not essential to the business. And we have started debt restructurings a lot. So if your companies or your businesses are on debt, and if it is not viable right now, this is a very good time to start restructuring and negotiating with your banks.
Okay, great. So as you mentioned in your intro, you are a lot into stock trading. So I just want, out of curiosity, I want to ask, how did you get into stock trading?
So Mahesh, I'll tell you, ideally, I'm very lazy. I am very good with numbers. So essentially, you find out a job where you are able to analyze your strengths, get into your numbers, and then start making money. Stock market what essentially gave me a very good opportunity to analyze numbers, get into those statistical systems, and start earning without actually depending on anyone else. So with stock markets, I'm not really dependent on how the economy is working, what Modi or Nirmala Sitharaman will come and tell on the TV tomorrow, whether my client will actually pay me money tomorrow or not. Uh, it is only me against me. So as long as I am being disciplined, I'm following my systems, I do not have to really worry about where my next money will come from.
Right.
And this is also a profession where you always increase in size and you have no retirement age. I'm in my 30s right now. I could easily be doing it for the next 50 years and I will only get better. So stock market in India is riddled with a lot of myths. So everyone in India probably knows someone who has lost a lot of money in the stock market, following either TV anchors or newspaper reports or any tips that you get. Once you actually start measuring your risk and create a good profitable system, I don't think there is any other asset which will generate you wealth as well as equity.
Right. I think this is the approach. That is why you have achieved around 29 points CAGR. Oh, well, that's great. That's great. So my next question is that who are your mentors and from where did you learn all about this stock markets and trading?
So the first 2 years was a lot of reading. I went through nearly, I think, 200 books. I would have read about 20,000 pages there. What I can help you with, Mahesh, is I'll probably for even your viewers, I'll send out 3 to 4 books which affected a lot into my trading. So there's a US-based investor called Mark Minervini and William O'Neill. So I follow them a lot. So a lot of my strategies and systems are based on those. And the stock market trading is 80% psychological. It is how you manage your fear and greed.
Right.
That is all the stock market is based upon. You may be wrong 100 times into your stock picks, but if you are able to manage that and get your one stock pick right, I think you are pretty well sorted for your life.
Right.
Amongst my mentors, I think I have learned a lot from everyone. Being a stock market trader or an investor is not just an activity, it's basically how you lead your life. So I cannot stay up late till 2 o'clock at night and get to the markets again in the morning. So I never sit in front of the screen. And amongst the investors, I have realized that the best human beings are the best investors. So I have met a lot of very established people in investing. So in about 6 years back, the biggest investor in India, R.K. Damani, I had the privilege to meet him for 5 minutes. I realized that as big as he was at that time, he was probably the most humble human being that I have met. And Vallabh Bhansali, and another very renowned stock investor. So I remember the story. I think me and my partner had once gone there to his office, which was near Fort at that time. Since we were very young and we wanted to make an impression, you had an Ola Lux kind of an option at that time. So you could book a Mercedes or an Audi at a cheap rate and get out there. So we had booked one there, and we got out of the Audi that we had booked, and we realized that Vallabh Bansali had actually come walking, and he actually greeted everyone right from the door watchman to the CEO who is currently handling the company in the same tone and gesture. So you start realizing that when you actually start getting into investing, you become a certain personality type. You don't be a stock trader, you become a stock trader.
Right.
Once you start understanding the difference between the two, you will become successful.
All those viewers who might not know who is Vallabh Bhanushali, he is the founder of Edelweiss, and you might know Edelweiss are portrayed in various type of investments like mutual fund, life insurance, and demat account kind of thing. So
No, I'll correct you there, Mahesh. Edelweiss is headed by Rashesh Shah. He is the head of Inam Security.
Okay, yeah, okay, right. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
So
And
yeah,
amongst the life mentors, I'll tell you there's there are two particular gentlemen that influenced me a lot. One is a ex-professor of mine called Deepak Bothra. I hope he is watching the interview too. So he is also a fellow chartered accountant and an IIM pass out. And he was working for a similar company of mine and then quit and is now a professional poker player.
oh,
So he's one of the top professional poker players in India right now. And he is the one who probably pushed me towards taking a risk. I come from a family which does not have any entrepreneurs. Most of them have been in service. I am probably an entrepreneur after 5 or 6 generations of my family. So he's the one who pushed me to it. And currently, there is another stock investor in Delhi, Manas Arora, who I am also consulting to a lot.
okay. So my next question is that as you mentioned that stock trading is a part of investment and we need to have that. So why do you think this stock trading is a very important aspect in terms of achieving financial freedom?
In India, what happens is you see the asset classes that we have. You have, say, a real estate or a gold or an equity. Uh, every asset class has its advantage. What equity gives you is instant liquidity, and the risk is in your control. For every entrepreneur, what is he essentially doing? He is putting money into his own business. That means he is buying his own equity.
Right.
Say a business which grows from 1 to 100. I would essentially want to be a part of that business if I am unable to grow it from 1 to 100 in that case. In addition, if I give you the option of a portfolio of 10 companies which may go from 1 to 100, that is where you make big money. So either you create a big business or you become a big part of a big business. And equity investment essentially gives you that. So most of the big investors that you see or the very wealthy in India are essentially stock market investors. The second thing what stock market gives you is it once you have your systems and your discipline right, you understand on how it works, and it is very easy. People think that it is a lot of jugglery and numbers and that it is very risky. It will probably take you 2 or 3 years to understand the whole system, which is not a very long time. It took us 3 years to clear the BCom degree, right? But this is a very, very worthwhile pursuit. Once you give your 3 dedicated years to understanding the skill, it gives you a lifetime of opportunities. You need not be dependent on anyone to earn money. So stock market investing for me, along with other assets, has to be into your portfolio, irrespective of the age that you are in.
Right. That's right. That's what advice I always give to my clients also. See, we need to have some investment in our stock trading also. because that's kind of investment which we give more high returns in less time, but provided we need to follow a systematic approach and a discipline approach we need to have.
And Mahesh, I may just add in here that a lot of equity investments in India
Yeah.
are actually put into SIPs and mutual funds. Correct?
Right.
We are probably one of the most underpenetrated, the number of people that we have in equities as a percentage, India is probably amongst the lowest. But amongst the people who invest in mutual funds in India, amongst that population, is probably the highest.
Right.
So most of the other developed countries have investors who manage their money themselves. When you put it through a mutual fund, what essentially happens is you are prone to a lot more drawdown. Say in COVID, right now most of the mutual funds would probably be anywhere between 20 to 40% below the capital value. Correct? If you essentially start acquiring that skill, you are not dependent on anyone else. Becoming a stock market trader is much more important than actually being into the stock market. So one of the things I should also appreciate about you, Mahesh, is you have probably been very transparent as a financial advisor and not pushed any mutual funds towards any of your clients that I have seen. And you have always very clearly mentioned the risks and the rewards with each equity investment that comes along.
Thank you so much for the kind words. So yes, now we will just shift back to again your charter accountancy. Any piece of advice can you share to budding CAs to manage their depression, because a lot of depression we are seeing case in this kind of situation, and also what kind of roadmap should they expect post this lockdown and COVID kind of situation? Is their salaries going to increase, or how? What is their roadmap exactly?
CA, we normally have attempts in May and November. The May attempt right now has been postponed, and there have been some new regulations which have been passed to either skip or to. So there has been a stress amongst a lot of CA students. One piece of advice that I may give them is once you have become a CA, no one will really ask you probably down the line how many attempts you have taken. Probably it may feature in your first job interview or the first job that you've taken. But after 5 years, I don't think over the last 8 years anyone has asked me how many attempts I have taken in my CA. Second is CA covers such a wide curriculum. You have your law, taxation, accounting, financial management, corporate law, auditing. It gives you such a wide spectrum that even a new qualified CA has so many streams to get an expertise in. With the COVID scenarios, the situation may be stressful for the initial months if you clear in this year.
Okay.
But for the initial period, when I realized this, the first 3 years are never about money. It is only about the skills that you gain during your first job or your first employment or your first venture, if you want to get it. As long as you are increasing revenues for your client or reducing costs for your client, you'll always be valuable to them. If you are entering into practice, your traditional compliance practice will have limitations. So probably the new CAs need to adapt to your current times and get into a much more value addition mode for your clients. But CA as a profession will always be lasting. The skills that we are taught into our curriculum are an everlasting skill that is always needed by us.
So all those viewers who have budding CAs or just now they are passing the exam or they want to write exam, please kindly again watch these recordings, because this is the value of advice is very important in kind of this kind of scenario, because your future is bright and you need not be depressed or kind of situation is coming. Don't worry about that, because there is always that light at the end of the tunnel. So please believe in that and just go ahead and do your best. That's all I can say, and as well what you can hear from the main expert Anuragg Venkat also. So now this very interesting question I wanted to ask. I always meet Anuragg, he's a very passionate about squash, and I always ask him what kind of passion you have, and he has a very good story about that. I would like to hear from you only, because Can you tell more about this to our viewers?
Okay, sports. So ideally, I'm also involved with a sports management firm. I have always been a very strong sports enthusiast. So I play squash a lot nowadays. What we used to do was we used to have a very interesting hiring procedure. So we use, instead of a personal interview or a group discussion or a CV round, we essentially used to have our candidates play a game of basketball or football or
Hmm.
sports is something where your actual character comes out. So you get to know a person much more when you are playing with them than actually in an interview.
Right.
And sports actually gets back your raw character. A lot of your fighting spirit, a lot of your risk management, how you work with a team, how you encourage or motivate yourself, how to deal with failure, comes a lot with sports. So a lot of your emotional skills, if you're good at sports, you will be much equipped to handle your business. So and you need sports. So irrespective of whether you play well or don't play well,
Right.
I think it is one of the most funnest aspects that you can do in your life.
Right. Right. That's it. So,
Especially in this COVID scenario, what happens in sports is, Mahesh, you are always in the now. Correct. So suppose I'm playing squash, the next shot, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just trying to hit the ball that is coming to me right now.
right.
With COVID right now in 2020, you are in this year, most of the businesses are just trying to survive. If you're trying to survive in 2020, you will have a very good next 3 years. So look at your business as a sport. You may have to take some hard decisions. You may have some hit wickets at times. But ultimately, if you play out the 5 days of your match, in the end, more or less, you will end up profitable.
Right. That's a great advice when we compare sports and business. And in a way, it is interrelated also because when we play our favorite sport, it always we always take some learnings from that kind of sports and implement in our business life as well as in personal life also. Always, like you said, sports should be we should be all get involved in that. So that's it, guys. We are always done with this question, but yes, there is a surprise for our speaker, and he also don't know. So we have started a small rapid fire questions, Anurag, and you will be getting only 1 second to answer that, and it is around, I guess, 17, 16, 17 questions.
See,
So, so
if you are getting inspired from Karan Johar, this is not a very good time.
no, actually, this is not from that perspective. Yeah, I taken that idea, but the questions are not so related. But it's kind
Okay.
of a little bit exciting also. So
Shoot.
let's start. So the first question on you: if you could buy any type of food right now, what would you buy?
Any type of food.
Yeah, right now.
Uh, Vada pav.
If you could be any animal, what would be and why?
Any animal, probably an eagle. It's raining very nicely outside. It's a good time to fly.
Okay. What is one of the things you would put on your bucket list?
On my bucket list, it was pre-COVID. I wanted to go to each and every country that was. That I think will happen after 3 years now.
Yeah, this is one of my bucket list also. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Favorite superhero is Superman. So why is if you see Superman is the actual original superhero. Every other superhero was probably bitten by someone or went through some experiment and became a superhero.
Right.
Uh, and when Clark Kent actually came to Earth, he was the superhero. He mixed amongst people, and his alter ego, sorry, Clark Kent,
Okay.
was the stuttering with the bee spectacle, the shy guy. You see, that is how a being from some other planet actually saw humans, and
Right.
that is how he adapted himself to fit into humans. That was a very nice analogy that I like in Superman.
I think you have a T-shirt of Superman also.
I have money, so I my wife had gotten this for me. So all the comic covers of Thor, Hulk, and Spider-Man, all the Marvel comics, she had gotten the first page comic covers, and she has framed it on the wall. So,
Oh, wow. So next question: are you a morning or a night person? Obviously, I think it
night,
is more night person.
it's basically a night person because the markets are in the morning. I get up kind of by around 8, but I prefer the night than the morning.
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Describe myself in 3 words.
3 words.
Okay. So, mm, hardworking, book lover, and sporty.
Okay. Okay. If you could be any flavor of ice cream, what ice cream flavor would you be and why?
I like the current flavor. I just had a pineapple cranberry ice cream some time back. I really like that. So one, because I think you have the flavors of the stock market also there. You had a green and the red flavor there, and that was.
The candlesticks are all that color only.
Hmm.
What is the strangest thing you have ever eaten?
Strangest things I've ever eaten. Not really. I don't think I'm a very. I like my food. I'm a very strange person. I think I had a very bad pani puri once. It was quite strange. So don't get me into the ingredient, but I think that was the thing.
What is your favorite thing about someone in your family?
About someone in my family.
Yeah.
Okay, so my wife is in the next room. I think she'll be listening to this. So I'll tell this. I think she's always very energetic and chirpy in the house, and she really gets me up. So I love that.
Great, great. If you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
Great lives for a day. Right now, probably Nirmala Sitharaman because we need a lot of better economic policies.
Okay. What is your favorite movie quote?
My favorite movie quote. Oh, there are so many. Okay, this is from Dark Knight. So in the end, I think when Joker was dying, he had a line that madness is just like gravity. All it needs is a little push.
Push. Right, right. How long does it take you to get ready?
Oh, 2 minutes. I'm always ready.
This is very interesting question. I think the wife might be listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping wife's secret?
Keeping wife secret. No, pretty good. 10 out of 10.
What is your favorite junk food? Vada pav and
Vada, vada pav, pani puri.
all. Say a word in Tamil. Since you are a Tamilian, so
Hmm. Uh, n- interview Nanna idukku. I don't know. Not
and what's for dinner tonight?
I had French fries and my wife has just made a crispy bhindi. So I'm having that today.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Anuragg,
Uh,
for that
Thank you, Mike.
rapid fire questions. And it was wonderful again interviewing you because as a personal, I know you how humble and because I would always say in my always Facebook live and always when I advise the clients, whenever we have so much money or so less money or any kind of money, we doesn't have any this kind of consideration, but the humbleness should be there, and that's one quality I always see, and this is the person who I have always seen, irrespective of any of money he is earning or he is losing anything, but he is the kind of person who was inspiring and he's also still humble from his bottom of heart, and he always supported me every kind of things, be it any finance or other things also. So I have learned a lot of things, and I'm sure as viewers, you must have got some ideas. And I like always say, don't go for everything. Just pick up one point from his all discussions which we had on what he had discussed. Just pick on that, implement on that, see that how the results is coming, be it positive or negative. Don't worry about it. Just follow it blindly and took it and take it to that level where you have achieved and what you think that you have achieved that thing. So that's the bottom line which I wanted to share with you. And for viewers who are watching the recording, you like the video, again go to our page, Facebook page is MVK Financials, like and follow. That's important because every week we will be coming with a different kind of speakers, how their entrepreneur journey has started. Because since he is also a first time entrepreneur, so his journey is a very inspiring because coming from a middle class family and starting entrepreneur journey is very difficult in this kind of situation, kind of environment. Still, the kind of entrepreneurs we are getting is such a blessing for our country as well. So hats off all this kind of entrepreneurs. And again, I'm requesting all my viewers live as well as recording, go to my YouTube page also, like, share and subscribe. There's a blue icon. I will be uploading that video in a very short time, 1 or 2 days. And this is a Facebook live, so you will again watch the recordings as well. Share your valuable comments, what you have learned from this video, because I always believe that, see, learning is a different part and implementing is a different thing. So I always suggest that we take at least one thing from this training or this Facebook live and just implement and just see what result you're getting, no matter what it can. So any final words, Anuragg, on this before we wrap up this interview?
No, thank you, Mahesh. I think you are doing a very good job. A lot of your clients I know are very happy with your services. Just probably one final word that COVID will be a temporary phase. The financial certainties and uncertainties will probably wither off soon. Uh, Take this time to upgrade your skills. Uh, Financial freedom essentially just gives you a lot of choices in life. Why you can probably not opt to work on a day where you don't want to, or opt not to work with someone. After the point, your money will not be a differentiator in your life, but your relationships and your family will be. So make sure that your financial freedom is also enhancing their lives and your lives.
Right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anuragg, again. And for all the viewers watching the recording and watching the live, thank you so much for your valuable time, because this means a lot. I am coming again and again with different topics related to personal finance. It's not the regular topics. I will be coming again as a hatke on personal finance, and I will be coming with yet another fabulous speakers like Anuragg, so that you will get more knowledge and value added, and you can change your financial. Yes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anuragg. We will again meet again if viewers permit us, so that we can have another round of interview.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and good night.
Good night.